Now at 5, as thousands of people flock to Carthage ahead of Marion Days, we're going to see how they're handling the intense heat. Plus, a local HVAC company gives tips to keep your air conditioner in working order. And
both Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are hitting the campaign trail today. I'm Natalie Brand with the latest on the race for the White House, plus what CBS News has learned about Harris's search for a running mate.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Marion Days in Carthage is set to begin tomorrow, and thousands have already made their way to the Maple Leaf City, with some setting up tents and camping out. This is KOAM News at 5. I'm Dow Quick. The high temps this week could make staying cool and safe difficult. A lot of attendees have found shaded areas to stay out of the sun, and many people are either wearing hats or using umbrellas to fend off the harmful rays. For those who've traveled from all around the country for this Vietnamese Catholic festival, the experience is worth having to fend off the heat.
Well, me and my friend John over there, we were just going through the auditoriums, like it's just blasting AC in there. And plus, like compared to Colorado is like hot, but it's not like humid. So like it's like a whole big shift, you know? Yeah. Like after your showers, you're always feeling like really, how do I say it? Like just sticky in general, you know? It's horrible. But at the end of the day, it's still worth it to me, I guess.
Marion Days officially begins tomorrow and will run through Sunday. High temperatures can overwork air conditioner units, cause them to fail. That can leave households in a pretty uncomfortable, sticky situation. Well, an HVAC professional in Pittsburgh recommends keeping the filters clean and changing them when needed.
Make it long lasting, your condenser, it's taking a water hose and spraying it over that compressor and over the coil to cool it off, and also keep the coil clean. That way you can get the right temperature reading, and also that way it doesn't draw so much electricity.
HVAC professionals also remind the public to keep up with AC maintenance, because if damage becomes severe, repair costs can go up. Not getting much relief from the heat, not anytime soon anyway. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, it's definitely hot outside once again for us today. Temperatures upper 90s to near 100 degrees, and those heat indices have been 105 to about 112 throughout the afternoon. Actual temperatures, a pair of 96s. We're looking at Joplin, also in Pittsburgh. It's 96, Stockton, 95 in Neosho and Carthage, 99 in Miami, and then you hit 102 in Yates Center, 100 in Sedan, 101 in Independence. Now you factor in the humidity. Look at our heat indices, about 104 upwards to 112 in our western counties. And we're going to see this again as we go into the daytime hours on Thursday. So excessive heat warning still in effect throughout the evening hours. Heat advisory in effect for us tomorrow. A few little clouds out there, but overall it looks pretty good. It's pretty quiet for us. We are tracking at least some chances for rain. We're going to look at that here in a bit.
That's in a few. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly visited Independence today to help break ground on an expansion and renovation project at the Labette Health Independence Healthcare Center. That $7.9 million expansion will include a new cancer infusion center, rural health clinic, and patient testing labs. It will also provide upgrades to the emergency department ultrasound services and add 17 patient exam rooms. Construction is expected to be completed by June 1st of next year. Former President Donald Trump's courting of black voters continued today at a meeting with black journalists in Chicago. This comes as Vice President Kamala Harris is close to announcing her choice to be her running mate. Natalie Brand has more details from the White House.
Former President Donald Trump took the stage at the National Association of Black Journalists convention for what quickly became a heated question and answer session.
You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. Why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question.
And he dismissed Vice President Kamala Harris's black heritage when asked about some Republican lawmakers' comments attacking her as a diversity, equity, and inclusion hire.
She was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black.
Trump has been heavily courting black voters but faces a new dynamic with Harris as the presumptive Democratic nominee. Supporters say her candidacy has infused new energy into the race.
It's about bringing everybody together for a good cause, which is to make sure that we have democracy and that we have somebody in there that's looking out for the rights of everybody.
Tonight, Vice President Harris speaks to a historically black sorority in Houston, a network of voters that began mobilizing for her after President Biden dropped out of the race. CBS News has learned Harris is expected to announce a running mate by Monday. The shortlist includes popular Democratic governors and Arizona Senator Mark Kelly.
I trust she will make that decision on her own terms when she is ready.
Harris plans to hit the road with her VP pick in several key battleground states next week, starting in Pennsylvania. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Former President Trump is back on the campaign trail tonight, visiting Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It's his first stop in the state since an assassination attempt on his life in Butler County, Pennsylvania, earlier this month. Still ahead, the future cost of borrowing.
Interest rates are staying put for now, but a cut could be coming soon. I'm Bradley Blackburn with a look at when that could happen.
And next in Health Watch, a new report highlights the risk factors for dementia and what you can do about them. Topping today's Health Watch, cases of West Nile virus are being detected in humans in several parts of the U.S., with some turning deadly. While Texas currently has more human cases of West Nile than any other state, Michigan is reporting its first human case of the virus this year. The news comes on the heels of a deadly case in California's Bay Area. Health experts say there are things you can do to stay safe.
One thing that does help us here in the United States versus other countries where you have mosquito-borne diseases is we tend to have better housing, screens on our windows, perhaps air conditioning. All of that helps reduce exposure to mosquitoes. But other things you can do is to wear insect repellent.
The CDC says 70 to 80% of people infected with West Nile virus don't develop any symptoms. Those who do might experience mild sickness, body aches, fever, or headaches. Number of people living with dementia is expected to triple by the year 2050 to 153 million people as the global population ages. Now a new report highlights the risk factors for dementia that, if addressed early in life, could prevent or delay millions of cases. Michael George has more.
As we get older, developing dementia is a concern for many people.
I think about it a lot, actually. I think I go through some age-appropriate forgetfulness.
A new report shows nearly half of dementia cases could be prevented or delayed by managing 14 risk factors starting in childhood, including smoking, obesity, and vision loss. Hearing impairment and high cholesterol are associated with the greatest number of people developing dementia globally.
There's quite a lot of evidence that using hearing aid takes away that excess risk. People who take medication or other methods to reduce their cholesterol to normal are also no longer at increased risk of dementia. So these are the two biggest, but there's a cluster of risk factors. It's to do with keeping yourself socially, physically, and cognitively active.
University College London professor Jill Livingston is the lead author of the report, which has recommendations for people and governments to help reduce risk, such as preventing and treating hearing loss, vision loss, and depression, staying cognitively active throughout life, using head protection in contact sports, reducing vascular risk factors, improving air quality, and providing environments to increase social contact.
Not everyone will be able to avoid dementia, but you'll have more years of healthy life if you live like this and fewer years with dementia.
Richard is doing what he can.
I'm 4 months off of a broken hip, and so I'm just back at the gym now. I actually play bridge, too. I think that's good for the mind.
To keep his body and brain in good health. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
To reduce the dementia risk, the report also recommends wearing helmets on bikes, reducing exposure to air pollution, and reducing sugar and salt content in foods. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, our Pet Vet on Call.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eva Dudek from Parsons Pet Hospital. Coming up, we're going to talk about ultraviolet light.
Plus, the heat sticking around as we go into your Thursday. Details coming up. Well, of course, it was hot. It was humid outside for us today. Temperatures way up there once again as we worked into the afternoon hours. Still, it's way up there. Nice shot of our Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. You can see just a few little cumulus clouds out there, but overall, it's the heat. It's the humidity. 100 in Neodesha, 98 Chautauqua, 97 in Grove. Pittsburgh sitting at 96, 96 in Anderson. Stockton also is sitting at 96 degrees. Currently outside, here's 7th and Rangeline sitting at 96. Still kind of breezy. Southerly winds at about 10 to 20. Gusts have been a little bit higher than that. And our humidity is up there. Dew point 70 to about 75 degrees. So if we look at our tracker, that puts us kind of on the top of the scale, that muggy to soupy range. We're going to sit there again as we go into Thursday. Heat indices 111s, Nevada 105, in Carthage 107, at Grand Lake 111, Yates Center and Neodesha, Independence. So it's super hot, super humid. That's what we're going to see as we go through the evening hours, sliding back through the 90s, 80s, eventually near 80 later on tonight. Let's go outside. Look at our winds. Southerly winds kicking in at about 10 to 15. The winds are going to calm down a little bit for us as we go into Thursday and Friday. Still excessive heat warnings in effect through the evening hours, and then heat advisories for us as we go into the daytime hours tomorrow, but not too much going on. Pretty much clear skies. A few little clouds kind of rotating through. We are tracking some thunderstorms to our north, Nebraska, north central Kansas. Some of these guys may get into our northern counties later on tonight, but overall, big dome of high pressure kind of dominating our weather, southern parts of the plains, and then we have these weak waves which kind of rotate around it. Let's go through time tonight. Pretty calm, but we are going to watch these thunderstorms trying to get into our northern counties. Yates Center, Iola, Chanute, Fort Scott, Nevada, late tonight. So here's about 1 o'clock in the morning, kind of falling apart as they push through, but any of these will stay along the north of I-44. And then we go into the daytime hours tomorrow. A few scattered thunderstorms along a cold front start to develop early in the afternoon, then just very hit and miss across the region. Still hot, still humid, upper 90s for afternoon highs. Tomorrow night, southern counties, a few hit and miss storms into Friday morning and then gone. But Friday we get a little bit of relief. It's still going to be smoking hot, just temperatures not quite as bad as we go into low to mid 90s for highs. Day planner for you tomorrow, 79 in the morning, 91 by noon. High temp, 99 degrees during the afternoon. Heat indices again tomorrow. Most of us are going to be 105 to about 110, and then they finally back down a little bit into the mid 90s once we go into Friday afternoon. Alert day tomorrow due to heat advisory, and then cooler, 94 Friday, 93 Saturday, and then we start to creep back up into the triple digits once again for us next week. But I know 93 and 94 is hot, but it's better than 98 or 99 that we're seeing out there right now.
I'll grant you that.
Yeah.
Almost 10 degrees cooler than it could be next week.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, a lawsuit against a popular ticket site targets the hidden fees consumers don't see until last minute. Topping today's Consumer Watch, people looking to buy a home or a new car will continue to see high interest rates, at least for another couple of months. Bradley Blackburn has more on the latest decision from the Federal Reserve.
As expected, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell announced interest rates are staying put, but he signaled a cut could be on the horizon.
The broad sense of the committee is that we're getting closer to the point at which it will be appropriate to reduce our policy rate, but that we're not quite at that point yet.
The Fed has kept interest rates elevated for 2 years in an attempt to ease rising prices. During that time, inflation has dropped from a peak of 9.1% in June 2022 to just 3% last month.
I think the Fed just wants a couple of more months to prove that the inflation rate continues to drift lower.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger says the Fed doesn't want to keep rates high for too long. The housing market has weakened under rising mortgage rates and prices. And in June, unemployment hit 4.1%, its highest level in 3 years.
On the labor market front, even in the statement, the Fed is acknowledging that the labor market is starting to lose some momentum.
Because of that, the Fed now appears poised to adjust its policy. The big question is when. Powell says a cut could come in 2 months, as long as the economy trends in the right direction.
If that test is met, a reduction in our policy rate could be on the table as soon as the next meeting in September.
Rates are at a 23-year high right now, 5.25% to 5.5%. So a lot of people would love the relief of that first rate cut.
Many analysts believe the Fed could follow a September cut with at least one more cut before the end of the year. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The Federal Reserve will get a better look at the state of employment on Friday when the Labor Department releases the latest job numbers. A new lawsuit accuses StubHub, the world's largest ticket marketplace, of preying on consumers using a deceptive practice called drip pricing. That's when customers don't find out about expensive fees until the last step before buying a ticket. Washington, D.C.'s Attorney General is suing StubHub. The complaint accuses the company of bait and switch practices.
So you think consumers are being misled? Are they being taken advantage of?
StubHub intentionally misleads consumers by deceptively offering a low price at the front end, luring them into a long, protracted buying process.
California is one of the few states with laws now requiring upfront pricing, but StubHub says that in most states their marketing practices are legal. Our Pet Vet on Call next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, long after natural disasters are over, the invisible aftermath of survivors' mental health. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have more on how the intense heat is impacting Marion Day's attendees. Plus, MoDOT hosts a meeting in Joplin to discuss some of its unfunded projects. And folks in Riverton, Kansas gather to send their local Little League team to Indiana for the Little League World Series Regionals. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. Not all pets have fur or easy access to sunlight. Some have scales and live their lives inside. Today's question for our Pet Vet on Call. I've heard pet reptiles need some exposure to ultraviolet light. How do I determine how much?
Actually, we all need ultraviolet light. We need it for vitamin D synthesis, for certain hormonal functions, and for mental health. The best source of ultraviolet light is the sun. So as far as how much we need, I would put your ultraviolet bulb inside the aquarium or your enclosure when the sun comes up and shut it off when the sun goes down. Putting your aquarium or enclosure next to the window does not work because ultraviolet light will not go through glass. So if you turn it on in the morning, turn it off at night, and also put up some sort of hiding places, shade so they can get out, because their needs are individual to every single different creature.
We invite questions from anyone. If you have a question, you just send it to petvet@koamtv.com. Dr. Eva Dudek from the Parsons Pet Hospital answers a different question or brings us a fun fact every Wednesday right here, KOAM News at 5. You can also find answers to previous questions on our website. Hey, let's check out our picks of the litter for the week. From the Joplin Humane Society, we've chosen this 1 to 2 year old female husky. Her name is Oreo. The shelter says she's good at figuring out puzzles and tricks. And from the Southeast Kansas Humane Society, we have Arwen, a 1 year old female medium hair cat. Shelter says she's a smoke cat, meaning only the tips of her fur are colored while the roots are white. If you're looking for a pet, why not check out your local Humane Society? A lot of beautiful animals, a lot of good animals, a lot of loving animals. Check them out. It's hot out there, Doug, and it's going to be hot.
It is. We're only going to drop back near 80 for us later on tonight. A few random storms in our northern counties late tonight and a few pop-up storms for us tomorrow, but hot, humid. Another alert day, high temp right around 99 degrees.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. And of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. We'll see you then. Let's make it a great evening.